Now, a few of you commented on the ability to get to know each other in talking. Is there such a thing as too long an answer?
Yes.
Can you give us some idea or parameters so that you know that you've effectively answered the question fully without perhaps going on a little too long?
Well, let's say you have an hour. So you have to gauge, you have an hour, and there's a lot of material that you want to get through. I think you want to be concise without being cold about it, but concise. You want to get the points across that are important to you, and then stop. If there's a pause there, don't feel you have to fill it with some more answer, all right? Just pause and let the interviewer, because maybe they're collecting their thoughts and they're thinking of the next question to ask. But I think that also if the interviewer begins to fidget or write, take that as a key that they're ready to go on to the next question.
Thank you. Any other suggestions there?
Oh, I was going to just build on what Peter had said earlier in terms of practice. So if you, I know you're not going to necessarily know all the questions that are going to be asked of you, but again, if you practice in terms of, what is it that you want to say, what is the accomplishment you want to bring out, what did you learn from that? Like if you take those sort of as 3 or 4 core things that you're going to provide in a sentence, once you've hit that, then you know that, okay, I'm done, and you can move on. Typically, people tend to sort of end up sort of going on what we call tangents, where they're going into different stories when they don't know whether they've actually completed the sentence or not. But if you've already taken the time to practice and sort of hit those key high points, you'll have a sense that, you know what, I've done that question, and then can move on from there.
In addition, I just add on, points in the interview comes where, again, interviews are still somewhat conversational, where the hiring or a manager is likely going to want to tell you a little bit about their company, right? Maybe it's a question you've asked, or maybe they're very excited about you and they're going to want you to be excited about the opportunity. Please try not to continue selling yourself at that point, right? As an example, they might be sharing with you their team culture. And it's quite off-putting when someone is interjecting you the whole time, telling you why, you haven't asked a question, but you're getting all these examples of why you're even better a fit because of, prior background linking to what they're telling you about the organization. So know when it's appropriate, to give your responses, but also know when it's appropriate to stop and listen. Because when you're interrupting, it shows someone who's not an active listener, and your enthusiasm could count against you. So know when to be enthusiastic and know when to take a step back and do the nodding.
Thank you. Is there another question from the audience? Okay, we've got 2 here. Whichever one he can get to first. Okay, TJ.
Ladies, gentlemen, Nora, my name is Gigi. I'm with the marketing stream and the first batch of the IEP students here. I don't know for whom this question is, but how many resumes do we need? Because we were all talking about interview level, but I think the main challenge here is all of us getting past the first barrier of interview or the selection, which is the resume. So how many resumes do we actually need? Because somebody mentioned that you need to customize. Let me share my example with you on customizing, because being in marketing, my expertise over 10 years has been in general marketing, because the environment that I came in from demanded that I cover all the areas of marketing. Coming to Canada, I have found that there's a lot of micro-specialization happening here in Canada. For example, you have a specific person handling advertising. And in advertising, you have another person who handles just social media. And you have another person who just handles outdoor. And you just have another person who handles newspapers or print media. There's all micro-specialization with designations and titles. And how do I fit into that? Because I know I've done that. I've done all that in my previous job. So my expertise in marketing covers a broad range of marketing, including brand, including sales, and including channel management. How do I customize my resume to a job that is so micro-specialized? Because I know that I haven't got the micro-specialization that the company is looking for, but I'm confident I can do it. But my expertise talks about a general marketing.
Sure. Okay, so you want to know how many resumes you should have.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, and just to chat, we have a creative team that deals with marketing professionals like yourself. First thing is you should have an online portfolio, right? that all of your resumes direct, whether you have 3, 4, 5, direct potential employers to go view your online portfolio. And that would be your general housing of any work you have as examples or samples. There is no right or wrong number of how many resumes, and this is across all skill sets, whether you're in finance and accounting or creative or marketing, but you do need to know which version you send to which employer, right? That is important. So yes, you should have more than one, because you're right, there are specializations, and also sometimes part of one's background may not be relevant. So you should be having a look at maybe within the digital space, what experience have I had that would be my digital resume. Within the traditional marketing coordination, more on the print publication side, what experience have I have? And maybe that's my print publishing resume. So I think you've got to spend some time doing that self-inventory we spoke about, maybe help categorize a resume that weights your examples, 4 or 5 bullet points per employer, prior employer, to highlight that key piece. But then I would have a link to your portfolio. And on your portfolio, maybe again, you have links to digital showcasing, print showcasing, and that way. And then again, in your cover letter, you may want to draw it all together. So that cover letter is a very important tool to bring the reviewer's eye to what you want to highlight. So I think, even taking this topic linked to the interview, you have to be very careful of when you get to an interview and a resume, trying to say, I know the job needs X, but I have X, Y, Z, and everything else. That can also not help you. So as hard as it is, have more resumes, keep an Excel spreadsheet of which postings received which copy.
Any additional?
Yeah, it depends on your approach to the job search. If you have a shotgun approach, trying to shoot something, see if you can hit something with a shotgun, fine. But you have a resume and you just have your multi-purpose. But if you're going after a specific job, you should customize your resume to fit that job description, and look at what they're asking for, and maybe try and read between the lines, and see how your skills. But direct your resume and make your resume basically reflect that job description. And look at it from the perspective of what do I have in my background that works here, that I can go after. And so I would say that probably if you're going for a specific position with a specific company, you have one resume per each, but you customize you have your basic resume, but customize it to reflect that job description.
Yeah, so I would just add to that to say, your goal really is to differentiate yourself and to stand out. So you definitely, if you've got the breadth and the depth, you could definitely talk to that, as Laura said in the cover letter. But if the goal is really, as Michael said, to be specific in terms of where your skill set is in a specific area, you really want to make it easy for that recruiter. Again, if it's usually a number of jobs go from anywhere from 30 to over 500 resumes that they're looking at. So you want to be the one that they say, this is the person that is for me, and he's got the experience. So you talk about your general depth and breadth, because you've got transferable skills that can sort of be used in the organization. But as best as you can for that specific role, make sure that I really just talk to it so it can stand out for you.
I'll just make a real quick comment. Some larger employers, because they get lots of resumes coming in, many of them unsolicited, will actually put your resume and your cover letter through a program that is looking for keywords. And so your first pass is to make sure you've got those keywords. And that's where you can customize the resume, go to the website of the company, understand what they're about, what they're looking for, make sure that those are the examples and the kind of references and the kind of things that you've got skills in your resume and your cover letter, because you need that to get just past that first step, which is now a possible interview candidate.